They say a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could cause a tornado in Texas, one tiny movement triggering a chain of events too complex to predict. Now, imagine that butterfly is MacG. Instead of wings, he's got a microphone, a podcast network, and a Tuesday slot called PNC. That small decision to put comedians on his platform might just be the biggest shake-up South African comedy has seen in decades. Since launching Podcast and Chill with MacG in 2018, MacG has turned independent podcast into South Africa's biggest digital talk show. Over 1 million subscribers, millions of views, and unmatched influence on the streets and online. This is the butterfly effect of MacG, a story of how one podcast, one network, and one man's decision to give platform to unheard is ripping through South African comedy, changing how comedians are discovered, how they grow, and what the future of laughter would sound like. Now, without further ado, let's stop beating around the bush and let's get started with this video. Let's take a look at PNC, People Need Comedy. This podcast started as Popcorn and Cheese, a light-hearted spin-off with Mpopops, Tsitsi Chumia, and Robot Boy. It evolved into a dedicated space for humor, stories, and comedic personalities, many of whom were unknown to the mainstream audiences. When Popcorn and Cheese started, many people, including me, didn't know about Tsitsi. But over the past 2 years, Tsitsi has managed to catapult himself and build a solid fan base.
Oh, that's what's inspired after robots. And also, let me tell you what I was doing. I was eating jungle oats. So now we're in an accident, we share jungle oats. Oh, bro, got inception. Oh, we're not jungle oats. Come on out here, no bloom, and no guy out here will lift there. Yeah, well, I'm right.
Using PNC, Tsitsi managed to grow his fan base, expand his reach, and gain new fans across the country. Before the establishment of the show, he was only known around the comedy circles. Now, every week, he tells the killer jokes on the show, which get chopped up, posted on TikTok, spread to Twitter, and led on WhatsApp groups. Tsitsi has grown so much as a comedian that last year he finally hosted his full special. Specials for comedians are nothing to play with. Comedians take these shows very seriously because they form a huge part of their catalog. Okay, now let's take a look at someone else, someone more recent. This guy, Pele Pele.
Every day you pay me so and I'm pay me. Yeah, but so the guy's like, okay. So this thing takes this thing one pull, try to go fast. This thing is done. I try this only out. So the guy's already like, so this guy wakes up, doesn't do Zol anymore, stands with the gun like this. 5-2. Hey, boy. This thing comes again. Hey, so Tigolo, she's like, hey, let's all pettinjan. So this guy says, I lay special in it. You pull the trigger. you put it in your mouth, you pull the trigger, then you get high. So Tigolo shut yo, I want it. So this guy gives Tigolo the gun. Tigolo so. Remember, picture got Tigolo the gun. So the guy is looking at him like this. So Tigolo the guy is like, yeah, sure. So Tigolo does this. I did my guy took shy shots. Tigolo shoot 2 steps our pants. Magavugat. Is this strong? That's how I caught.
Pele Pele was a friend of the show last week. His appearance on the show has already gained him a huge following of fans. Within days after the show, bookings started rolling in. Views are multiplying on his YouTube clips. Many chillers have been leaving comments on Pele Pele videos like, Podcast and Chill brought me here. That Tokoloshi joke is dope, bruh. Skumba was not lying. Damn, Pele Pele is hella funny. All this love and support because of one episode on Thursday. MacG has effectively bypassed the old comedy circuit. His network is the new circuit. Pele Pele went from being relatively known to trending topic after one episode. Some might disagree, but I believe that these changes are great for the comedy industry, especially for people who have been grinding behind the scenes for years, like Pele Pele. Back in the days, comedians like Luis Ogola, David Kau, Skumba, and others paid their dues by grinding in small clubs, doing 5-minute sets to audiences that might not even laugh. They'd tour for years, hoping for a TV producer or festival director would see them and offer a big break. Lucky enough, guys like David Kau and others managed to secure a comedy show called Pure Munati, which laid the blueprint for today's comics. Not only that, but the Blacks Only Festival also played a huge role in introducing and launching new comics to thousands of fans. But this strategy is extremely long, slow, and selective in most cases. Today, things have changed. People are not willing to pay for a comedian they've never seen before. Promoters are not willing to book comedians that are unknown, no matter how funny they are. They have to have numbers and pull crowds. Platforms like PNC play a pivotal role in introducing comics to audiences and growing their social media presence. The audience doesn't have to discover you in a club. They come directly to you in their homes, on their phones, on their lunch breaks. The gatekeepers have lost the monopoly. Look at guys like Sean Ray and Tabiso. They also form part of PNC. These guys have elevated their game in comedy just by being affiliated with PNC. Every week, the Cheese Babies tune in to watch their hilarious skits and listen to their commentary. As I'm creating this video, they are currently on their tour making audiences laugh across South Africa. MacG has built something that cuts through the noise, and because the network is independent, there's no corporate filter watering down the personality or the punchlines. Comedians can be themselves, and the authenticity is magnetic. Another guy who's been killing it is Dylan Oliphant. Ever since he joined PNC as a news anchor, his popularity has been rising again. This guy came into the spotlight back in the days when he was touring and opening for Trevor Noah. Over the years, his relevance kind of faded a bit, but being on PNC every week has boosted his career a lot. Many people, including me, didn't even know that Bra is this versatile. We just thought he's a stand-up guy. The skits he plays on the show expands his brand, and corporate South Africa entertainment industry will start looking at him differently. By giving airtime to comedians who might not have been invited into mainstream platforms, PNC is widening the talent pool and diversifying the voices in comedy. And because it's digital, there's no ceiling. Your audience isn't just in Joburg or Cape Town, it's in Nairobi, London, New York, or anywhere else where there's Wi-Fi. The butterfly effect isn't just a national, it's global. Maybe MacG didn't set out to revolutionize comedy industry, but by opening his mic to the unheard, he's created a ripple effect that will be heard for years. In the future, when we look back at the era of South African comedy, we'll see a clear turning point, and we'll trace it back to a podcast network that took a risk and believed in the local comics enough to give them a slot to be themselves.